Good morning, Westeros!
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast. I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners!
Woo!
And welcome back to another episode of Morning Throners podcast. We're here talking John 5. We're back on the wall, baby. What a great time to be alive. On the wall, feeling warm.
Extra
with your
cold.
friends.
I think it's fair to say we all love this chapter.
I don't hate it. I enjoyed it.
Jeff?
Yeah, good chapter. I love Master Raymond. He's the man.
Nah, it's
Kyle.
boring as shit, man. Nothing happened. This chapter sucked. It sucked.
And it was quick to the point. And John's my boy. I love John.
Nothing happened.
And he's
dude.
such a good dude. Look at him. He's
It was
fucking
just like
smart.
character building, plot building.
Blue just wants to jerk off John.
This was a filler chapter. Let me start there.
We're going to start off with some trivia. Lord Alistair says that 8 of them are graduating to become Men of the Night's Watch. Now that we've read it all and some context clues, let's see if you guys can identify everyone who's graduating. So, Toad.
I forget his real name, but I remember him being the one that fought John earlier. Like
His real name is basically Toad. His real name's Totter.
I don't know who that is. Stonehead is probably Gren.
No, Auroch is Gren.
The next one is your Aurochs, which is Grant. So Stonehead is...
Stonehead is...
I don't know, man.
So, okay, so we have Lover,
Don't know.
I don't know that either.
Pimple,
It's gotta be Pip.
Nope. Pip is Monkey.
Monkey is Pip,
That makes sense.
Sirloon,
I don't know.
and the Bastard.
And that's
Jon
John.
Snow.
John. So we're missing Sirloon, Pimple, Lover, and Stonehead. So who do we know is graduating with John? You guys
Daron
didn't
or
say already.
something, right?
Daron, that's Lover.
Daron
That's
is
Lover.
Is Pimple one of the stewards?
Pimple's Albert. His name's Albert.
Then it's gotta be
They
Mathar and
mentioned him earlier
Jaren,
that he
right?
was Pimply. And then Halder is Stonehead because he used to be a stonemason.
Okay, that's the one that said he wanted to be a builder.
And Matar is Sirloon. So that's all of
Who
them.
the fuck's
Totter, Halder,
Jaren?
Gren, Daron, Albert, Pip, Matar, and John.
Who's Jaren then?
Darren.
No, Jaren. Mathar and Jaren climbed the wall and
Yeah,
began
he's
pelting
just
them all with
another.
snowballs.
He's another one of them, like Sam.
He's one of the ones like Sam who's
He's
not
just a
getting
bitch?
advanced.
He's not a bitch. He just didn't make it.
Bitch boy.
He probably just got there a week ago, dude.
He
Relax.
only got 8 of them. Yeah, I mean,
They don't take trips every other week to get recruits. Come on.
So what happens once they find out that they're graduating?
They start drinking. They start celebrating, hooting and hollering.
They're hollering, jumping on each other. Somebody goes and grabs some wine.
Gotta act like you've been there before. You know what this reminds me of? Can I tell a quick anecdote? 7th grade basketball, we have tryouts. Okay, there's about 30 kids. Everybody in Pottstown thinks that they can play basketball, so it was pretty popular. And you know, it was one of those things that they don't do anymore, where they post the cut list, who made the team on the wall.
What?
So we're waiting at the end of practice, yeah, and we go up, and like people start freaking out, like we made the team, like we're jumping around, and then you just like turn around and see everybody that didn't make the team, and you're like, fuck,
Fat Sam sitting over there,
you know.
waiting on next year.
And dude, I'd never felt. That's one of the worst feelings ever, and I think we got yelled at for something.
You were always not on the list.
Always.
You got yelled at for celebrating making the team? Like, that's bullshit.
And just being
yeah,
like,
you
hey,
looked
be
over and you're like,
respectful.
oh shit, that's kind of... Yeah, but you're hype. You're like, yeah, I made the team.
It was just like, hey, be respectful, type of deal. And we were like 7th graders. We were fucking like people were like literally like screaming and running around, and it was like, oh god. But
I mean, that's what. How old is a 7th grader? That's about these guys. These guys are what, 14, 15, and 7th
grade, you'd be like 12,
12, yeah.
12 turning 13.
I don't blame you
crazy.
guys for celebrating.
So these guys are all celebrating, and John goes over and chills with Sam for a little bit, and Sam congratulates John, but says he doesn't want any wine, and he's like, "You're gonna be first ranger one day, just like Benjamin was." And John's like, "Come on,
You bitch!
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
You fucking pussy!
he is the fucking first ranger.
So I'm sorry.
Don't talk shit on Uncle Benjamin, dude.
Benjamin.
Talk shit, get hit.
So the rest of his friends come up and just keep like tackle him and keep celebrating with John, like throw snowballs at him. And by the time like he shakes Gren off, they're all like, Sam's gone. Sam dipped away.
Then they had a good ass dinner.
Yeah, so they go to dinner, have a great ass dinner from the commander's table or whatever they said. from the Lord Commander's own table.
Does that mean they took it? They took his food, or they just
Nah,
cooked him?
they just probably made the same shit.
Yeah.
It's like the same quality he would get. Yeah,
Like, this is good shit. You got the good shit.
3-fingered Hob cooked it up special.
Yeah, so they're all just talking, making fun of each other. Halter said he wants to become like a builder. Like a lot of people want to become rangers.
Oh yeah, they kind of explain the positions in the watch here. I guess that's
Yeah, is that the first time we? Is that the first time we get him?
Yeah, so first Pip says like, "I hope we all stay together," and Toad's like, "Well, I'm tired of looking at your stupid ears, so I don't want to be together." And he says that Toad will be a ranger so they can keep him as far away from the castle as possible, and that if Mance Raider attacks, just lift his visor and they'll all go running away. But yeah, then they explain like what a ranger is, because Gren's like, "Oh, I want to be a ranger too," and Matar kind of says like everyone wants to be a ranger. It's like kind of like the glorified position. So what's the rangers and the builders, Kyle?
Well, the rangers are the ones that go out. They go out on rangings. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
They
So
go
that-
above the wall, yeah.
Yeah, and the builders are in charge of building. I think that's pretty obvious. But they like keep up with. They used to do a lot more. It sounds like, but now they just make sure the wall's not falling apart.
Yeah, they used to like actually build new castles.
Yeah.
And actually like go and get
Dig
ice
mines
and make
and-
the wall
yeah.
make the wall go taller and shit.
Yeah.
But now they don't really do
Now
that.
it's mostly
Do that.
just trying to make sure the wall's
upkeep.
not cracking and,
Yeah.
and melting and falling apart and crushing stone.
And there's a third faction or group that they say, I guess you would call it, but they don't talk about it till later
The
when John's
stewards,
they
is that
frame it.
correct?
The stewards.
Yeah.
Yep. So what do they do?
Well, they do everything else. They do a lot of the
Basically.
bitch work. It sounds
They're
like.
maids.
They tend the horses.
Yeah, they
make
just
some
make
meals
sure everything
sometimes.
is running smoothly.
Yeah.
All right, so and like they describe some other shit like carpenters and carpenters used to like cut down the trees
That's all
and
part
make
of
sure
the
everything.
builders.
Well, that's all.
Yeah,
those
it's
are
all part of the
builders.
builders.
Yeah.
So they did a lot of that shit, like you guys said. Is that it?
Yeah.
Other than stewards?
Yeah, so they say that, and then basically Darren just says, the old bear is no fool, because this was Halder saying that he wants to be a builder. And his argument is, what good's a ranger if the wall fell down? There's no wall to like go ranging past anymore. Like the rangers are useless. That's how Halder, I guess, sees like honor in being a builder. And Darren basically says, yeah, well, you're obviously going to be a builder, and John's definitely going to be a ranger. He's the best sword, the best rider, and his uncle was the first ranger before he was. And again, John basically like, he is the first ranger. You motherfucker, quit
Everyone,
saying he's dead.
shut the fuck up. My uncle's not dead.
So then John is like, he pieced out. He didn't even enjoy the dinner because he's so sad about Sam. It sounds like,
Which is
Actually,
weird
it's more
because
than
Yeah.
like, I did not get any sense about like up until this point where John's like explicitly tells Pip why he's upset. I did not get that set. Like there was no internal monologue about Sam at all. Like it seems like he's upset.
I mean, they're skipping
seems-
around. It's skipping around a lot.
It's just weird. It seems like he's upset about
Well, then he goes out and
His
he goes
uncle.
on this ride, and he's like, I could just fucking leave right now. Like, I don't need to be
yeah.
here.
I'm not breaking any rules.
It's also really weird that you can just leave. Like, yeah, I'm just taking a horse. Fuck it. I mean, I guess they're like,
Well, he
fuck it,
came on a
go. We're
horse.
gonna catch you.
He
But
came on a horse, and he hasn't sworn any vows, so he's not one of them yet. So that
Yeah, you
horse
could
is probably
totally
still
leave.
his.
I understand that. But nobody like even says anything to him. Like, all right, see you, John. Like, we'll see you when you get
He's going
back.
south. He went south.
He's
though.
half royalty.
I don't think there's anything weird about what he did. I think anybody would be allowed to do that.
I
Yeah,
Even
people
like
go
one
to
of the
Mol-
rapers.
I
People go to
understand that
Molestown.
I understand that they're not supposed to be going to Molestown.
Well, they're not supposed to be doing what they're doing in Molestown, but I think it's fine that they go.
They're allowed to go to Molestown. They just can't whore around in Molestown.
I understand it. It's just bad. It's just bad. You can't even. You don't even like sign out. You don't check out.
You
I
gotta
don't think
sign
there's a
out on
problem
the
with
sheet.
it.
You
You're
sign
grown
your
men.
horse
Be
out.
checking out.
It's grown men. You just got to be there at roll call. the
They're
next day.
not
It's
grown
like-
men. We just
it's
talked
like-
about how they're 14 years old.
Yeah, but like that's not the point. Like if
13
this
years
is like
old.
this is like the army, right? Like the army, you can go wherever you want. You just got to be there the next morning
Just
at 5
sign
a.m.
out
when the
your
whistle
tank.
blows, right?
You just sign
yeah, you
out
don't
your
gotta
tank
sign.
and drive it down the street, right?
It's different. It's not a tank. It's a
It's
fucking
his own
Jeep.
horse
Have you
that he
ever
brought
seen-
up.
Have you ever seen Stripes with Bill Murray?
I think it's bad. A bad setup by the fucking
I don't think there's anything weird about what he does. Glow?
Dude, I think he probably does. It sounds like he does it consistently because he brought Ghost with him. Ghost went hunting and like he's just chilling on his horse.
It doesn't sound like it's his first time. I agree. And like I said, he's also Jon Snow. Like, I mean, he's pretty important. I mean, I know he's still
That doesn't matter.
Not
When you go to
important at all. He's a fucking bastard. Like he is literally nothing.
No, I don't.
I agree with
don't
Kyle on
that.
this. They're still fucking.
So hold on, we skipped a little bit. So Jon calls out explicitly to Pip why he's afraid for
Hold
Sam.
on a second. If Jon Snow dies, Winterfell is not fucking doing shit about it. Let's get that straight.
Maybe they'll send a card.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
I don't know about that one.
Maybe they'll bury him out fucking.
I don't know about that one.
I think Ned
He's
would be
a
upset,
bastard.
Ned and Rob.
Man. Yeah.
I mean, they'd all be upset, but I don't.
Catelyn's the only one that's. I mean, if he dies at the Night's Watch, yeah. I mean, what they're gonna kill him at the Night's Watch?
If he even like say he was in a different situation and he was just
say
like,
he doesn't have
going
Ghost to
south.
like intimidate Rast, and Rast kills him. I don't think the Starks care that much. Like I think I don't think they care,
happens.
but they don't
Nothing
do
happens.
anything. Yeah, they wouldn't do anything about it.
He is a pussy.
Rast gets killed.
Rast would probably get killed, sure, but that's just like if you kill anybody, you get killed. That's just the rules. I think.
So I think if Cersei took him hostage, I think Ned would be pretty pissed.
For sure. But then again,
So then
it's a
he's just as
bastard.
valuable as Tyrion.
That's not true at all.
Yes.
He'd be pissed. Of course he'd be
I
pissed.
think
that
he
doesn't
would
mean
raise
he
an
would
army.
fucking no.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean maybe.
I think he would. I think Ned.
But
I
but
think Ned
in the
cares
eyes
about
of in the eyes of the realm, he would be 100% wrong because he's a bastard.
Yeah, but at the same
No,
time,
that's what I'm saying.
Ned
That's what
raised
I'm
him
saying.
as his own son, though.
I don't
and
care. I don't care.
Ned cares. Ned cares.
I'm from.
Why does this matter? Where did this come from?
Because
Like,
I
why
think
does
it's
it
just
matter?
absurd that we're just like we shouldn't be putting John on. All right, we shouldn't be putting John on a fucking pedestal because he's a bastard. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. Like that's what Benjen even said to him when he first got here. He's like, "You're getting no special treatment because of who you are. Like, not even from me. Like, you're brothers now to these guys, not to like that's what matters, right?" Like, but he had that conversation with Benjen. I'm sure we probably read a quote from it.
Yeah, we definitely did. That's what I'm saying.
That's fair. Okay.
So what we skipped over was Jon explicitly tells Pip why he's afraid for Sam, and it's because Sam's going to be stuck with those guys. Rast is not one of the ones graduating, and he mentions another guy, Cougar, who I don't remember, but I guess he's mean like Rast, and he knows that like as soon as Jon and those guys are gone and aren't there to protect Sam, Sam's toast. Like he's just going to send him against him. He's going to beat the shit every day in practice because he hasn't gotten any better. And Pip's like, yeah, well, you did all you could for him. And Jon's like, yeah, but it wasn't enough. And that's when he goes, grabs Ghost, grabs his horse, and goes out for a ride.
Better be foreshadowing. Like it, Jon better like lay it on the line for a lot of people. Otherwise, this chapter isn't worth much.
What do you mean?
I'm saying this better be like a character building chapter in the sense of like this is when he's figuring out who he is and who he's gonna be and stand up for the little guy and kind of like this is part of his personality from now on.
Okay.
Protector of the weak or the seemingly useless. Like I'm not saying Sam is useless because obviously.
Well,
Jon
that's the
explains why he's
opposite
not.
argument he has. That's the opposite of Jon's argument right here at the end. Is hey, everyone's useful. Even
Yeah,
though Jon,
that's
he
what I'm
seems like
saying.
good at
The
something.
seemingly useless. Like
And he
everybody else
fi-
sees them as that, and that's what I'm saying. Is that Sam may not be useless, but to everybody else he seems to be.
So if this was just like the only thing nice Jon ever did in his whole life was for Sam, it wouldn't be worth
This
it.
chapter is worth nothing.
But if him and Sam become like best friends, even though Jon hates everybody else.
Nah, this chapter it's dumb. Nothing happened.
No. Yeah,
That's
I got
all
you.
that
All right,
happened. It
let's
better
keep-
be part of.
I'm not saying this is the most exciting chapter.
Yeah, it's just a world building chapter, and then gives
That's what
a
I'm
little
saying.
insight.
It better fit into the world, is what I'm trying to say.
So what's he do when he rides out, Jeff? Where's he
goes
going?
down to the King's Road and just kind of thinks about everywhere he could go. He thinks about his family at Winterfell. He thinks about, going to Storm's End and the Vale and King's Landing. It's all the places he won't even see, even across the sea. to
Because
Bravo.
he's stuck at the
saying
wall forever now.
He's at the wall, but he could leave, and he thinks about it. I think he does contemplate it at this point. Like,
Because right now he hasn't sworn any vows.
it's about to get
Yeah,
real.
so like right after he thinks about this swearing of vows, he's like, yeah, but I can't go back to Winterfell. I can't go to King's Landing because I'm a bastard. Lady Catelyn won't accept me.
Well, it's first off, it's kind of just weird to think. Like, I guess most of the other people are here because they have to be, because they're like rapists or whatever. So they don't really have the same option as Jon, right? Where he like, but Jon right now is like, I'm about to swear a vow is gonna lock me here for life, and I'm celebrating that. Like why is that something to celebrate?
I mean, the other guys are celebrating because it's like the only life that they have.
Exactly, and it's like a graduation ceremony, right? It's like their only path forward, and they just graduated to the next level where they're no longer the bitch boys; they're a little higher up on the totem pole. And I get that, but for Jon, it's like I'm about to celebrate that I'm signing up for as a 14-year-old. I'm signing up for something for the fucking rest of my life, right? And he thinks that as a bastard, there's not enough in the rest of the world. Like that's his conclusion here, is like the rest of the world isn't worth it because I'm a bastard. Like my life will be so shitty because I'm a bastard. It's better here. At least there's like a brotherhood. That's his conclusion here, right? It's like it's short. It's only like a paragraph and a half or whatever. But that's what they're meant to get at, I guess, right? Because he's talking about his whole family, everything he won't see, and then the conclusion he comes to is, but I'm a bastard, so it's not really worth much anyway. I'm gonna turn around and go back home. I don't know. I felt that was weird to me.
What was weird about it though, like I mean, I think that's true.
I mean, he also has a purpose to go back to help Sam and save a life. That's the other thing too. He almost feels like responsible, and that's his first thing when he gets back.
I don't know. He turns to go back before he thinks anything about Sam. He said because he turns back and then Ghost comes over hill, and that's when he thinks about Sam. And he even says like he hadn't thought about it. For some reason, Sam pops into his head then, right? It's what, so he says something weird like Sam popped into his head unexpectedly, or he hadn't thought about it in a little bit.
Jon found himself thinking of Samwell Tarly again on the ride back. By the time he reached the stables, he knew what he must do.
All right, you're right.
It just seems weird that Jon doesn't put more thought into not signing up to this lifelong commitment. But
it was also his dream for a while.
Yeah,
too.
That's what I was gonna say. He was kind of prepping for this because he knew this plot of being the bastard was never going to be good enough.
Yeah, so I guess he sees himself becoming important in the Night's Watch. It sounds like he could become a ranger, he could become a first ranger.
Yeah, everyone's sucking his dick here too. But like, I don't. That's not my point. My point isn't like why does Jon. I guess that's kind of what I'm asking is why does Jon do this? But like, we were just having that argument as everyone cares about Jon. Like Ned would be super pissed if he got kidnapped. Like all this stuff. Like he could do some cool stuff in the South. Like, maybe he's not going to have, like, the life Robb has. But he's going to have it better than most fucking people, even as a bastard, right? So, like, and he's trading that for a life that literally, like, criminals, like, the worst criminals get condemned to.
Yeah, but, the Starks believe in their honor, and they still believe it's an honorable thing to do.
What's he going to do as a bastard, though? He can't stay in Winterfell. He can't stay in King's Landing. What's he fucking going to do?
He could be, like,
what's he going to be?
He could marry, like, a lesser lord's daughter and, like,
right. He could have a little hold fast or something. Not a
just be a soldier. Fuck it, join the army. Be a soldier if he doesn't want to get married right away. Like he's a good fighter.
Be a
right?
general
like,
or
like, exactly. You can be a general in your
captain
army.
of guards.
Like I don't want to call any out by name, but like there's some bastards that have like honorable positions later on in these books. Think about anybody named Waters. Like just think about anybody named Waters in the future books or.
All right, I want to pose a hypothetical. Say Benjen never went missing on his first ranging, or that ranging when Jon got there. What do you think their relationship's like while on the wall? Say Benjen's there, like, is he a mentor to Jon, or is he like kind of like cold to him, like he would be another recruit until he swore his vows? You know what I mean?
So the only interaction they had that we saw or like heard about, like he was kind of cold to him, and I don't know if that was just like as like a wake up call for Jon or not, but. In the first chapter where Jon like proposed to Benjen, like, "Hey, I'm gonna join the Night's Watch," like Benjen like advised against it. He was like, "You don't know what you'd be giving up. Like, it's a different life.
Never
like, you
felt
can
the
never
warmth
be
of
a
a
father.
woman.
All this stuff." He's like, "You're 14. Like." Another thing that's not a super spoiler. Benjen took the black not as a child, like definitely not as young as Jon, right? So like he experienced more of the world before he made this commitment. So I think that's probably what he was advising John to do, is at least like give it some time, right? It's like a huge commitment to make, especially this young. I guess is my point. John's 14.
That's the same thing too. He doesn't know the world that well.
I don't know. I just think it's kind of weird how little John considers it here. But I guess there's not much that you can say besides it's weird.
Well, I also think it's probably because just that's who he wanted to be forever. I mean, I guess, and that's why he's not thinking about it. I guess.
I gotcha. So I have a new spot on my notes that I'm gonna start keeping track of called Kyle's predictions. So anytime you want to make an official prediction for the list, let me know.
I don't have a good one out of this chapter, man.
I guess I don't.
There's no good. I mean,
there should be one like prediction for the end, but we'll get there.
So we head to Maester Aemon's.
Yeah. So he comes. So he crests the hill. He has the idea about Sam. Kyle read the quote, and then he goes to Maester Aemon's office. He talks a little bit about what's going on, like who Maester Aemon has serving him and stuff like that.
Shed is there. Shit.
So yeah, George R. R. Martin has pronounced this guy's name as Shit.
And Clytus. Two of the ugliest men on the wall. That's the joke.
What's the joke?
Maester Aemon's blind, so they put the two ugliest people there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he doesn't even notice, yeah.
Yeah, so he lives below the rookery. He's blind. He has those two are like kind of the ones who like take care of him.
Clytus is pretty blind too. It sounds like.
Clytus got some bad eyes, is what they say. Yeah. So when John goes, who's there to answer the door?
Is it Chet? Shit.
So
shit's at the door, and John's like, "Yo, let me talk to Aemon in there. Like, I know he's back there. Give him to me."
He's in bed. We're not fucking waking him for you little bitch.
He's like, "Well, I need to talk to him, so you are gonna wake him up.
Super
I'm gonna
important.
stand here all fucking night." Yeah.
And then John just does the old foot in the doorway intimidation threat there. Just
It really was
101.
The total bastard intimidation style.
So then he lets him in, and he says, "Yo, go wait in the library and make a fire, because you better not get him sick. He better be warm while he's here." Then John lights a fire, and who shows up? Maester
Aemon.
Yeah.
Surprise!
the goat.
And he wants to sit super close to the fire.
Yeah, he's actually pretty pumped. John showed up. Quite the opposite of what Shit just said.
I need less sleep as I get older. So he doesn't sleep much anymore.
He just lives in the past when he's trying to sleep.
Now, do you think he actually is like, he's probably asleep, right, and dreaming, or he's just thinking?
I don't fucking know, dude.
That old man is sleeping.
I think he's flipping through his iPhone, watching college videos of his friends jumping through doors and shit like that, you know? In the mind's eye.
I don't have any of that.
In the mind's eye, let's go. Haven't heard that in a while.
I don't have an imagination either. I like to think about a whispering eye.
All right, Kyle. So what was John's plan here for Sam?
Man.
How's he plan on helping Sam out?
Well, he says pretty much like, "Hey, man, losers have a place here too. Like, they can hang out with you."
Hey! Sam is not a loser. Be nice to Sam.
He's kind of a
Sam.
loser.
Damn.
I think Sam might be Nelson's favorite character. I think
I like Sam.
he sees a lot in it.
He's way better than John.
What? Fuck off.
I agree.
No way.
So pretty much he said about talking Maester Aemon into accepting him as a steward, and like speaking up to the Lord Commander and saying, like, you need to promote him. I can take him. Like,
so I want to read this quote with John and Maester Aemon where he talks about the analogy with the medals that Kyle doesn't like, and then Kyle can tell us why he thinks it's stupid at the end.
it's so fucking stupid.
I remember once I asked Maester Lewin why he wore a chain around his throat.
Maester Aemon touched his own collar lightly, his bony, wrinkled fingers stroking the heavy metal link.
Go on.
He told me that a maester's collar is made of chain to remind him that he is sworn to serve.
John said, remembering.
I asked why each link was a different metal. A silver chain would look much finer with his grey robes, I said. Maester Lewin laughed. A maester forges his chain with study, he told me. The different metals are each a different kind of learning. gold for the study of money and accounts, silver for healing, iron for warcraft. And he said there were other meanings as well. The collar is supposed to remind a maester of the realm he serves. Isn't that so? Lords are gold and knights steel, but 2 links can't make a chain. You also need silver and iron and lead, tin and copper and bronze, and all the rest. And those are farmers and smiths and merchants and the like. A chain needs all sorts of metals. A land needs all sorts of people.
Maester Aemon smiled.
And so?
The Night's Watch needs all sorts too. Why else have rangers and stewards and builders? Lord Randall couldn't make Sam a warrior, and Sir Alistair won't either. You can't hammer tin into iron, no matter how hard you beat it. But that doesn't mean tin is useless. Why shouldn't Sam be a steward?
All right, that's where I have it ending.
So to me not liking this. So I guess there's a couple things here. So his last point makes sense, right? You can't hammer tin into iron. Like that point makes sense. But to say that like you need all sorts of different metals to make a chain, unless you're talking about a maester's chain, yes, you don't really want all sorts of different metals for a chain.
I hear you. I think I heard your argument earlier, and I think what the point is here is the reason the maester makes their chain out of different metals is it's kind of like wearing your transcript around your neck. It's like, hey, here's all the classes I passed, right? That's so you can look at it. One maester can look at another maester and know what they know about. But he says like that is also acts as a symbol of other things. Like the Maester's collar is what it is because of that rule, that each metal is because of a different study. But because of the way a Maester's collar is based on that rule, it resembles things like the realm. Like, and it's not saying king, like gold rings are because you serve kings and silver rings aren't because you serve knights, right? But like it's like those are things like they represent, and like you can take that as a meaning. When
what I was gonna say is I didn't remember it being so specific to being a maester's chain that he was kind of talking about, but the idea that a chain should be made up of different metals is what I was yelling about earlier.
Yeah, and I think he's just saying that a Maester's chain can symbolize that because a Maester's chain is
yeah, I mean, could there actually be a Maester who just like studies one thing and
no?
Yeah, right. So
why not?
Most Maesters, it's kind of like real world. You specialize in something, but the way to graduate Maester school is to get a chain big enough that you can wear on your neck. That's basically when you become a Maester. There's Maesters in the future books who have like 4 or 5 chains, but they're not a Maester yet because they can't make it into a collar. And we hear that Maester Lewin's is like a choker.
So why don't you
because he hasn't
just
studied
make
as many.
All the same?
You don't get multiple. I don't think you get multiple of the same thing. So like once you have a huge chain that's like a comfortable chain, and like that's how we know Maester Aemon is so smart, right? Because he studied so many different things that he wraps his around his neck multiple times. Most Maesters, it's like Lewin, where you're wearing like a choker, or you get it to where it's like you get it to where it's a comfortable length, and then you specialize, right? So Maester Lewin, I think he said specialized in like the magics. That means he got his magic chain, but once he was able to wear a whole chain, he read more about magics.
But like, so you're saying that he has a bunch of like the same link?
Bunch of different links.
You can only get one link per metal. Yeah, one link per metal. So you have to study
so
like
how
at
many
least one.
How many metals does this dude have that he can wrap around his neck multiple
In the
times?
show, the links are pretty big. They're like that, right? They're not like a normal chain link. It's like
okay.
So you probably need like almost maybe 10, right? Which is like if you and I think they say it takes about a year to get each link. A normal person gets like a link in like a year and a half. So you need like 10. That's like 15 years study. And then you're a Maester, and then from there you can study for longer. Or if you're really smart, like there's a person they say is smart because they are getting their links in less than a year. All right, so you study for 30 years, you have 30 links, and if they're like that big, maybe you can wrap that multiple times. Or you let it hang real low.
Are there 30 kinds of metal?
Maester Aemon is also
That's
very
my
old.
question.
I'm sure there's 30 kinds of metals.
Back then, or whenever this is,
Yeah.
wherever this is?
Black iron, silver, gold.
Bronze.
See, I do
tin,
think
bronze,
once
copper, there's 30. Platinum.
Is there a chance that once he got like
Uranium.
1 gold, like he did something else with money that got him like a different gold chain? Maybe. Like
I don't know
spiral
exactly
chain?
how. I don't know exactly how the Maesters work, but I don't think you can just like farm gold links. You know what I
That was
mean?
an easy class. I'm gonna take it over and over and over.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it works like that. But yeah, so that's what this analogy is meant to symbolize. But even whether the analogy is spot on or not, it's pretty impressive that, again, we're gonna keep hammering this home. John, as a 14-year-old, brought this up, right? That's pretty.
Even for him to
enlightened for
cognitively
his
think about,
years.
like, he has so much empathy for Sam, to like he should be drinking wine with the other guys, but he's I guess
That's
pretty
what I'm saying.
socially
Like,
mature.
if this isn't a character building chapter for John in the sense of like these things come through later on, then this chapter is a waste.
Well,
so
hold on.
focused on how he had his head on straight at 14. Like,
So let's get to the end of the chapter. So after John, basically, this whole speech is like, Sam can be a steward. Shit is like, hey, I'm a steward. It's
don't
not that
talk
easy,
shit on
okay?
stewards,
Yeah. It's like, I gotta hunt, make clothes, tend horses, cook meals, and Eamon's like to John, can Sam hunt? Is he good at riding?
Nope.
Is he
Scared
good
to hunt.
sailor? And John's like, nah, I can't do any of that.
He likes
shit.
animals, and he.
But
can
you know
read.
what he can do? He can fucking read. He can write. He can fucking do
And
other
what's
stuff.
crazy is the stewards. Out of the 2 stewards for the maester, only one of them can write, and it's the one who has bad eyes. And the maester's blind. The maester's like one of the number one jobs of the maester is like writing letters and like reading letters, right? So like, and only one of his stewards can read, and that guy has bad eyes, and the maester's blind. Like, Sam, like, you need somebody who can read in this position. And I don't know if like the watch has like, a ton of. Like, I don't know what the reading percent, like, how many people can read and write. And Sam can do both. You need somebody like Sam, but why didn't he get one already? I'm not sure. But basically the last thing is Aemon says, Lewin taught you well, and he's like, I'll think about it. So what do you, Kyle, I guess like the straight up prediction is, what do you think happens with John and Sam? Like,
oh yeah, Sam's gonna be a steward.
And graduate with John?
Yeah.
Okay. For Maester Aemon?
Yeah. No.
I've got a.
No, he's
What do
gonna
you
probably
think?
sit somewhere else eventually, but
What do you think? John's gonna graduate. What do you think his role becomes?
I mean, he's
So quick question, completely unrelated. Have they renamed a first ranger after Benji went missing?
no.
All right.
I mean,
I don't know, did they? I don't remember.
I mean, we haven't had a John chapter in a minute.
I don't think they
It's
did
been,
to
what,
us.
14 chapters, you said?
I think John would have thrown a fit about that, or John would have at least thought about that.
Well, he
Well,
kept
I'm
saying
sure
he
there's a
is the
sub.
first ranger.
Exactly. So I think if they renamed one, John would have.
There's gotta be a
say
sub.
or somebody would have corrected him.
An interim or
A
something.
vice first ranger, a second ranger,
Yeah.
perhaps.
I mean, there's at least an interim first ranger until they find him. Someone's got to lead. You just can't have a leadership position that nobody filled.
Well, couldn't the Lord Commander just act as first ranger, be acting first ranger? While
So he'd be the
first ranger
interim first ranger. That's what I'm saying.
But he's a higher up position. Doesn't interim mean lower?
Interim
No,
means,
it means-
like, temporary.
Even if he's just out looking for somebody, like he currently technically is, like somebody has to still be in charge. Like, I mean, there's got to be.
Lord Commander's in charge.
Yeah,
So
I was
Lord
gonna say, there's got to
Commander
be a power
outranks the
structure in
first.
place for when he's not
Lord
there.
Commander
It's
outranks
a democracy.
First ranger.
Nels.
It is a democracy, but the Lord Commander outranks first ranger.
No shit, but he has other shit he's got to do. So they delegate. That's why you do that.
Okay.
He's
Back
not
to the
gonna
original question.
He's not going to take on every responsibility just because he's the
All
Lord
right.
Commander.
Back to the
You
original
fucking
question,
asshole.
Kyle.
What do you think
Where's
John becomes?
John's? That's probably our next.
Is he gonna be a ranger? Is that the question? Yeah, he probably is. Like, I mean, what else is he gonna be? A builder or a steward? I don't see either of those happening.
Yeah, I'm just asking your opinion.
I mean, maybe he
Just
could be a
asking a question.
builder. They might put him as a builder, but
It's hard to segue to something else after we've asked Kyle a prediction question. We don't want to give any hints at.
We don't need to. We can say goodbye to him. Go to bed, Kyle.
Do we have any other questions we asked? I guess not. I can't think of anything. Any other comments about this, Kyle? Besides, I agree with you, Kyle. This wasn't a great.
yeah,
chapter.
I mean, nothing happened. It was just kind of there.
Just a quick read. You need these chapters every now and again.
Next chapter is Tyrion.
Quick world builder.
All right. Well, we'll see you later, Kyle, and we'll see you fans in the spoiler section.
Bye, Kyle.
See you later, Kyle. It's great
Later.
hanging out.
Peace.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, Kyle, see you later, friend. It's great hanging out. Now on to the spoiler section of John 5. Hey guys, what are your hot takes for this sode?
I've got one hot take.
I got something I want to bring up before that we were talking about in the non-spoiler section. When we were talking about John and like why he doesn't ride south, that was a serious question. And when you guys were saying like, well, he's a bastard, he doesn't have a real life. Do you guys remember anything about this that I've told you before or from one of the other books?
What, that he can fucking become king?
You think he was being ghost there?
And no, in book 3, John remembers a conversation he had with Ned, where Ned tells him about a plan called a dream for. He tells John about this plan where he planned on working with Benjen to negotiate the Watch giving back a part of
the land
of the new gift to the north, and he was going to settle that land and like raise up new lords in that area. But he told John that was a dream for spring. It's the only time a dream for spring's ever been dropped in the books.
But
so it's not something. It's not. Yeah, but that's the book after Winds of Winter is called A Dream for Spring.
I knew that.
But so people are like, oh, that's just something that George wrote and forgot about. It's probably not. If he puts it in the same line as the only other time he's using a book title. Right, so John always had a place, and John said that Ned said that he could have been a lord in that new gift. So he could have been a lord of a holdfast, right? Not like a Winterfell type building, but like a decent sized fucking castle, right? So, and John knows this. He had this conversation with Ned in the past from this chapter, right? Like we don't hear about it until book 3, but he had a conversation in the past. So John knows about that.
Do you think that's still true if he goes to the Watch? Like they're like, okay,
no,
well,
how is he gonna become? No way. How
I'm saying. I mean, they're doing something new anyway. I mean,
that's
I guess
the
they're
thing.
just
That's
getting
the
the
thing I
land.
wanted to point out is you guys were arguing like, why would John?
So
Like, John
at the
has
same
nothing
time,
looking for him. He's a
he said it's
bastard.
a dream for spring. Like it's hopeful, it might happen, might not though.
Yeah,
I
with
just
Ned down
don't-
south and Benjen missing, like it's unlikely, right? So that's a valid argument. But John realized, like, I just wanted to discredit your blanket statement that he's a bastard. There's nothing waiting for him anyway. Like, who's Euron Waters? He becomes the master.
That's not what I didn't mean. That's not what I meant when I said that. I didn't want Kyle to think because he's Jon Snow, like he's getting. I mean, and I guess maybe he would because that guy who died in the prologue was like a ranger in a minute and leading. So maybe he did get a little bit of preferential treatment, but he shouldn't. That's my whole point. Is like.
I think if he swears his vows and leaves, I think he gets beheaded.
For sure. But what we were talking about earlier in this episode was John has the option to leave right now, and the counter argument, like I was asking, why doesn't he leave? And you guys were, I thought the consensus between you three was, he's a bastard. There's nothing for him down south. I just want to point out that at this point,
leave.
John knows that he has way more potential south than he has the Night's Watch. Like he could be a lord leading in that holdfast in the Dream for Spring from Ned because Ned's not dead yet. That's still on the table. Euron Waters becomes master of ships, right? Euron Waters becomes master of ships in book 5 for Cersei. He's a bastard. Like, just because you're a bastard doesn't mean you're fucked, and especially because you're Ned Stark's bastard, you're probably doing all right. So I still think it's really weird that he doesn't.
On the pedestal in the Night's Watch. Like Kyle made the comment.
I agree with that.
Kyle made the comment like, "Oh, he can leave Castle Black because he's Ned Stark's bastard." Like that's not true.
No.
Anybody could leave in this.
I think it's just because
who wasn't brought here because he was a raper.
Like if it was Grant or
think
something, they could leave too. Like it doesn't fucking matter.
Right, and that was my point.
I just want to hammer home more what I was saying in the non-spoiler and make it clear that I'm not trying to fool Kyle. I honestly don't know why John doesn't give it deeper thought to leaving here. Like, if it was any of us, right, we're fucking gone. Right? Like, if it was any of us, cool, we went to fucking summer camp at the wall and we learned how to be a better fighter. I'm going to go back home where I got to fucking...
Did he learn how to be a better fighter,
But that's the thing, he can't go home. Right? That's the thing, like...
He can right now. Right now it's his last chance to go home.
He doesn't know Catelyn's not there. He thinks, I'm not welcome at Winterfell is his main point. That's the first thing he says. I'm not going to be welcome there. Catelyn's not going to let me there. Can't go to King's Landing. So he's not going to be with any family anywhere unless
he can go to Winterfell. He could go to Winterfell.
Catelyn literally says he's not allowed at Winterfell.
He could go to Winter. I think he could go to Winterfell. Even if he doesn't know Kat's not there, which I bet you he probably does.
Catelyn said he's not allowed there if you're
Do
not.
you imagine the shit he would have got? Like, maybe not from just like the general public, but from definitely Catelyn. Like, oh my god, you left the Night's Watch. Like, you're not even strong enough to do that. Like, everything I thought about you was right.
No, so yeah, he will get shit from Kat, but I don't think he would get from everybody else. I think if he showed up, even if Kat wanted him gone, and I think Jon knows this. Keep in mind, I think Jon knows this. If he shows up in Winterfell and Kat's like, "Get out of here," Rob is like not letting that happen. Rob is the Lord now.
Not in the current climate. He's gonna be his number 2.
Exactly. So he's like, Rob is like, Jon, you're fucking staying. Kat, shut the fuck up. Like, Rob at this point knows, hey, I'm the fucking boss around here, even above my mom, right? I do what I want.
Do you think he has the balls to tell his mom that though?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, man.
He, in like a book and a half, probably less than a year from now, in real time, he names Jon his heir, right? That's the consensus. He names Jon his heir before the Red Wedding, in front of his mom. Like, he literally tells his mom, "Hey, I'm doing this," right? And then he names Jon his heir. I don't know if that's the case, and I might argue against it. But that's what
you're gonna argue against that? The Grand Northern Conspiracy? You're gonna argue against? Get the fuck out of here!
That's what most people think. I think he might name Kat heir, but we'll get to that when we get to there. We'll get
Cat
to
of the Canals, maybe.
I think
Cat of the Canals.
So we'll get there when we get there. That's just what I want to point out. That I think it's weird Jon doesn't give this more thought. So I agree. Like, Glow, maybe while he knows he's not welcome, if he really wanted to, and he fucking should, because it's the rest of his life we're talking about. If he goes to Winterfell, he knows Rob has his back, and that's what matters, because Rob's the Lord of Winterfell, not Cat.
Maybe give him time at least to figure out what he wants to do. Like, all right, I'm going east, or hey, I'm going fucking to Dorne.
Yeah, Jon.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you give him some time to figure out what he wants to do with his life. Because he's not going to be allowed to stay unless... I don't...
Exactly.
Once Ned comes back or something, I don't know. Something... I don't think Catelyn
so I just
allows
think
it.
it's weird. I just think it's weird that he doesn't consider it more at this point, I guess is all I'm saying. Jeff, what was your thing?
Darren. That's
what about Darren?
He gets mentioned. I think it's his first time getting mentioned.
Nah. Is Darren the one that goes to...
He's the one in Bravos that Arya kills.
Ooh, that's him?
Daemon. No, I thought that was Daemon.
I mean, I don't know. I thought it was Darren.
Daron is recruited the Night's Watch, known primarily for his singing voice. Sir Alistair refers to him as Lover. A Feast for Crow, Jordan names Darren as a replacement for Yorn, his missing wandering crow. He sends Darren south with Samuel Tarly, Mace Raymond, and Gilly. Yeah,
Bam.
Good work,
Bam.
Jeff.
For some reason, I thought they were different. Good call, Jeff.
Bam.
And he has been mentioned before. He's been mentioned 3 times before. John 3.
Well, how do you know? And you were looking for a Daemon.
No, I knew Darren was John's friend. I thought Daemon was somebody from Eastwatch who goes with Sam.
All right, that's all I had, really. I mean, other than like, I also like that Kyle is just like, oh no, he's gonna be a ranger. He's got to be a ranger, which is probably everybody's first instinct. And then
I knew he was gonna say it. And I knew he was gonna say it. I still didn't know how to like hide my reaction. Even
You just gotta say, okay, we're fine, I think. But at
tried
the
to
same
throw him
time, he
off
was
by
like, "Why are
saying
you
first
asking me
ranger.
this? Oh, he's probably not gonna be a ranger now."
Yeah, I tried to throw exactly.
But
I tried
he
to throw
usually
him off by
says
saying
that
first
stuff.
ranger
He usually
first.
is like conspirator then, and like, why did you just ask me that question? I'm gonna think.
Well, I think he was gonna say that, but then I was like, hey, unrelated, is first ranger an open position right now? And we like kind of talked about that.
No, I don't even think he needed that. Like, I feel like when I asked the question, he doesn't expect like a conspiracy type of question. Like when I asked the question the other time, he just like gave an answer. Like, I think that's what he thinks of me.
So this is a good segue into my next point. Is this conversation that John has with Maester Raymond does something really important? Is the direct cause of something really important besides Sam graduating with John?
It makes John a steward.
It makes John a steward. John, before this conversation, probably would have been a ranger. This conversation tells Aemon
That he needs to be with.
that John has a
the
fucking
bear.
head on it. Not only is a fucking good fighter, but he's got a good fucking head on his shoulders, and he knows what he's doing.
And he cares for the weak,
wise.
and he knows.
He cares for the weak. He's wise for his age, right? And what is John's plea to Aemon is, hey, take what I said to the Lord Commander. So yeah, Maester Aemon's going to be like, hey, John made this really good point about Sam. We should probably graduate him. But also, it's pretty crazy that this 14-year-old kid just made this point. He's somebody you may want to look at for like future command. And good old Baron Mormont's probably like, make him my steward, right? That's probably how that goes. Like, this is a direct cause of...
I definitely think that
That's it.
Eamon suggests him
to
be the steward.
I
don't
never
think
thought
the old
about that.
bear
I
is like-
thought maybe they decided it beforehand, but that's a good point. I never thought of that.
No, I knew that. I knew that. Nelson told me that.
Because before this chapter, who are they getting... Like, who would Maester Aemon or the Lord Commander get any intel on John from?
Alistair.
Alistair, that's it. And he's not giving them probably the best intel, even if it is good, right? Like, John steps up and says, hey, I'm going to teach these boys how to fight because Alistair's doing a shitty job. Alistair's not telling the Lord Commander that, right? So even if John is showing leadership qualities before this, that's not getting flowed up to the right people until
I feel
this
like they
conversation.
also know that they also know Alistair is an asshole and just
True,
like
but just
dude.
because Alistair's an asshole doesn't mean that they know what is happening behind their backs, right? John is doing all this stuff they don't know about.
Yeah, but they don't walk around the fucking battlements every now and then and see what's going on and listen
And just
in.
see two people training. They just see two recruits training in the yard, right? They don't.
And they
think
hear
John's
John
teaching
fucking
anybody.
yelling commands. No, you gotta hold your fucking sword up left. Grand, what are you fucking doing over there? You gotta parry.
I think this conversation pulls a lot of weight in their decision to make.
I
John's
100%
story.
I
agree.
agree with you, Nels. I agree.
I'm just being devil's
So-
advocate.
It's like the
saying-
first time I'll ever agree with you.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. So the way this ties back into everything else is I've told you guys some stuff before about I think Ghost influences John.
Yeah, and I think you're right about
You
this.
said he thinks about Sam when Ghost
He thinks
is around.
he decides to befriend Sam when Ghost is with him on the top of the wall, right? He's like putting gravel on the path, and then right after he meets Sam, that's when he decides like I'm gonna be Sam's friend, basically. Here he's thinking about going south, all the opportunities he has back south, right until Ghost rides up, and then all of a sudden he started thinking about Sam again, and he comes up with this whole idea, right? This whole idea is basically because of Ghost, because Ghost, if you follow this theory that Ghost is making John sympathetic or have a connection or something towards Sam. John comes up with this idea because of that. Maybe it's a direct idea given him from Ghost. I think that's probably pushing it a little far. But because of the weight this idea has, not only on Sam but on John, it makes it even more meaningful that Ghost is kind of the origin of it, right? This Ghost that John just happened to find in the snow way back when.
I mean, here's the thing, that it's not Ghost, it's the three-eyed raven.
So yeah, exactly. If it's a three-eyed raven acting through Ghost, whatever it is, it's weird how much of an impacts John to first. John gets it. He's at John's feet when John decides to go to the Night's Watch, which is even a ridiculous decision for all the reasons I've said today. Like how better of a life he would have in the South, even as a bastard. Right, like the decision that he makes to even want to go is ridiculous, and he makes that decision with Ghost around at his feet at that banquet hall. He gets here, has made the decision to befriend Sam while Ghost shows up, and thinks about Sam here when Ghost shows up, and all of this is leading to John becoming steward of the of Lord Commander, and eventually Ghost is going to find the bodies in a few chapters when John and Sam go to swear their vows. What does that do? That triggers the ranging north, like. They take the Night's Watch on that ranging north because Lord Mormont finally has proof of the whites, right? Like, they bring those people back to the Castle Black, and they wake up in the middle of the night. Ghost wakes John up and saves Lord Commander. So not only does he find him, he saves Lord Commander from him when they actually wake up and attack. That triggers the ranging, and John's the Lord Steward by that point. It's a kind of all, I don't know if you can say all because of Ghost, but it's weird how Ghost has been around for all of it. He's not in every scene with John, but he's in every scene that leads to any of those weird things happening. These like major pieces that influence John's story.
Thick of things.
Exactly.
Making plot lines happen.
Yeah.
I wish it was more that Ghost and John were just like interconnected. Then I don't like the three-eyed ravens.
Yeah, I don't like that
expressed
either. I
multiple
agree,
times.
but it has to be because of the colors.
And I hope that he has more of an influence with Ghost because... And it's weird because they say... The one thing that I don't understand is they say the wall blocks magic, right? Like, there's, like, shit in the wall that, like, blocks magic and supernatural stuff, right? So, like, how does John... how does he send messages to ghosts through the wall when the wall blocks that shit?
I mean, do we actually know that
maybe
the wall
maybe
blocks
it's
it?
standard maybe it's black magic. It could be because at the same time the fucking guys are going through Winterfell through the Weirwoods. I understand that's a conduit, but
So the one chapter, I think it's a Dance of Dragons. The chapter starts off. John is inside Ghost's like skin, running around, and it says he's south of the wall. Ghost is south of the wall at the time of the chapter, and he says he like senses Shaggy Dog off on an island with like unicorns and savages, and he senses Nymeria running at the head of a large pack, and he senses that Greywind and Lady are dead. But one of
I
his
remember that
brothers,
chapter.
but it says one of his brothers he knows is alive, but he's lost touch with, and it's because Ghost is south of the wall, but Summer's north of the wall, because Bran has gone north by this point. So it's like it blocks the connection Ghost has to Summer, but it doesn't block the connection that the Three-Eyed Raven has to Ghost, which
I mean, at the same time, I feel like the three
seems like the stem of all of it,
more
right?
powerful than
yeah, but like any connection Ghost had, like, so if we're saying that a Three-Eyed Raven has a connection with all these wolves, and these wolves have a connection with each other, it kind of makes sense that it's not like all the connection stems through the Three-Eyed Raven, right? Like any connection Ghost has with Summer would go through the Three-Eyed Raven, right? They'd be connected via the
I don't
Three-Eyed
think
Raven.
so.
No? Okay. I think it's like a connection like that, like via the Three-Eyed Raven, but John. So like it's basically
No,
it's like hubs
I
on a
think
wheel.
they're all just mystical beings, and like they just have. So since they're all wargs to the same family, they have a connection. It's just they're also a pack mentality. Ghost is obviously the leader of the pack. He has a warg connection with them. Like, all right, I can
Is
sense
Ghost the leader of the pack?
100% Ghost is the leader.
Greywind.
No way.
Greywind was.
No.
Greywind was a badass wolf before he got his head chopped off.
Dude, no. Ghost was 100% the leader. Nymeria fucking stopped acting up right around him. I think, Summer stops acting up right around him. He listens to him. When Ghost isn't around, yeah, they listen to Greywind, but Ghost is the fucking leader because John's king of the fucking world.
John's a bitch.
John's king of the Westeros.
Kyle said it right here. The worst chapter of the book so far. Kyle said it. Kyle said it here first. John chapter, not a cat chapter. John chapter.
I mean, it was just
and it's only downhill from here.
I read it in 10 minutes, so it was fast paced and I wasn't bored.
So I got real hooked in Game of Thrones this weekend. This chapter, I actually like this chapter.
I liked it too. I didn't
it's
mind
not
it.
great.
'Cause I knew what it meant. I know the weight.
Yeah,
of
when you know like the weight of
decisions,
this decision here, like what it causes down the road. But after I read this, I kept reading it, and I read the next few chapters. We're only a few away from the decision or the realization that Joffrey's a bastard. And the next chapter is the Tyrion chapter where Tyrion tells the Tysha story.
Oh, shit.
Kyle also said something today that just like sparked my he's not once we get like a week or like 4 more podcasts in, he's never going to be able to make a solid prediction again.
Why?
I just don't think he picks up on like any nuances that we say.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, after this book, it probably gets harder as we go because he'll be even less
No,
familiar.
yeah, I mean he's going to forget names, which I understand. Like I was there too. If I didn't have you to tell me what was going on, I would be fucking lost half the time now.
Which is why I'm surprised he hasn't picked up on more, considering like how much I feel like extra help he has. But I guess it's hard not reading them back to back. Like he has to wait.
So
long.
today we were dropping like future shit, but it wasn't like spoiler stuff. So like we dropped Mole's Town. I don't think that's been brought up before. We brought up. I said something about like Dorne's love bastards. Like it doesn't matter, but that's not a spoiler. It's just like a way of life.
It's just.
I think it's fine when we drop stuff like that, especially when we don't go back and dwell on it and explain it to Kyle because he'll never remember that. Or if he does, when he reads it the first time, he'll be like, "Oh, they mentioned this. This makes sense now. Like I know what they're talking about." So that's nothing like big.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. It's not like
One thing I wanted to remind you guys though that I was afraid you're gonna spoil for the Tyrion chapter with Tysha is at this point in the book, Tyrion thinks Tysha's a whore still. So in the story, he finds her and he doesn't think she's a whore, but then Jaime confesses and says that she was a whore, and then everybody rapes her and everything.
But then she wasn't a whore.
Later, he finds out she wasn't a whore, but don't say that in front of Kyle because that is not. And it's kind of weird how they flip flop back and forth on if she was or not in the story. So I just wanted to make that clear.
I mean, do we actually know the truth because of how much flip flop there was?
Jamie tells him when he frees him, she wasn't a whore.
I mean, how do we know he just wasn't fucking lying?
I don't think because I think we get it from like Jamie's perspective. Or something.
I mean, at the same time, it's
he's
like
definitely not lying, and it's like a huge point. For
it's like when they're escaping or something like that. He's like,
yeah, it's right.
And then he literally goes and kills his dad.
Yeah, I'm just saying it could have been.
He almost like kills Jamie.
Hey brother, I know you. Hey brother, I know you're really upset. By the way, Taisha wasn't a whore, just to make him happy.
That obviously makes him less happy because she got raped.
Yeah, he was about to kill Jamie there. Like he was that pissed off.
And instead of getting fucked instead of getting paid for fucking 30 guys, she got raped by 30 guys. Right? She's not a whore. That's what that amounts to. She got raped instead of doing her job.
I understand. Maybe that's.
It's like a huge point for Tyrion in the fifth book that he's furious that Jamie lied to him about this and how he wants to kill Jamie. Now, not only does he want to kill Cersei, he wants to kill Jamie because of that. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how we got on that, but I don't have any.
You were just talking about what you read. You were excited about the future chapters.
Yeah. And
you didn't want us to spoil that.
Oh yeah, the next
she was a whore or she wasn't a whore.
Yeah.
I don't even remember if she was or wasn't. I think she was.
I don't think she was.
All right, we'll see everyone in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Give us a like on whatever platform you're listening on, and we'll see you in the next one. Tyrion something.
6?
4?
It might be high.
Tyrion
4?
6. Tyrion 6.
6? Man, my instincts. I just gotta trust it.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
All right. See ya. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you guys. Like and follow.